Hi there, this is Anna from Aspnes Designs. In this video, I want to walk you through the brand new 5x5 Mother's Layered Template Album #1 that arrived in the Anna Aspnes Design store at Scraps this morning. This album was a personal project that I created for my own mum for Mother's Day. That's in a couple of weeks' time, but you could totally use this collection to create an album for friends or other family members. And so in this video, I want to walk you through the setup and show you how that can be done, and then also show you how to save those pages and then upload them to Picaboo, where you can print them in a mini photo book format and get a 55% discount. So first of all, I want to talk about the album. It's a 5x5 album, so most of the pages, as you can see, are delivered in 5x10 format, being 10 inches wide by 5 inches high. There are actually 10 spreads, so you can accommodate 10 photos and then 10 quote pages. And then there is a first and a last page, which actually makes a 22-page album as opposed to 20 pages. And then there's also a photo book cover. So when you download this project, then you will have 3 zip files and 3 different folders. And you can see that the folders are arranged per page. So I've labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4 through 10. And if you go into one of these folders, then you'll locate the PSD file, a preview image, and then I've also included the individual layers for those people that are not working in Photoshop or Elements. So essentially you would bring these layers into your workspace and then layer up the design. So you would bring this in, and this would be your layout foundation. You would then drag in your mask for your photo. This would be the color overlay, which applies a nice soft color when combined with blending modes. You could add in the quote that comes with the page, and then also the custom stitching. So because I'm working in Photoshop, then I am going to be working with the template. Before we go ahead and bring this template into the workspace, I want to talk about the last folder. This includes the last 2 double pages and then also a first and last page. So I've included a page here with all of the individual layers. So you've got the 2 quotes. You can add custom quotes if you want to, and these just will add a nice intro and then also closing page to your project. And then finally you'll have the photo book cover. And so again, this is a preview image, so make sure that you save the PSD file as a JPEG when you create your pages. Picaboo will actually warn you if you try to upload this preview image and tell you that it's low resolution. And you can see that we have the individual layers here, and I've separated this in case you want to add a custom quote. Incidentally, both of these fonts are free fonts. They're available from defont.com, and you can access the names of those in the template. So that is the makeup of the pages. I'm going to head back to the first folder, and I'm going to bring in the template into my Photoshop workspace. So you can see that I have my rulers showing. So if I go ahead and just pull out the edges of this template, you can see that it's 10 inches wide. So we've got 2 5x5s either side. This line down the center here denotes where the 2 pages will meet in the photo book. And then if we look in the layers panel, you can see the various layers. Let's go ahead and turn this off. We have our background layer, and then we have a mask layer to which we're going to clip our photo. We have a color overlay layer that's clipped to the mask layer, and then I've included the quote according to their fonts. You can see the font titles here, and then I've also embellished it with some stitching. So again, you can turn these layers off, you can remove them, you can switch things out. Essentially though, you should just be able to bring in your photo and then save your page as a JPEG so that you can upload it for print. So to add a photo to the mask, we're going to navigate to our photos, and you can see that this is a folder of photos, old photos of my childhood that I managed to scan last time I was home visiting my parents. I'm just going to select one of them and then drag that into my Photoshop workspace. You can also go to File, Open, and navigate to your photos that way. So you can see in our template that we have our mask and we have our color overlay already clipped to that mask. So if I go ahead and select the mask layer and then select the Move tool from the Tools panel, click down onto my photo, hold down that left mouse button, drag, and then release that left mouse button, you can see that that photo is dropped directly into that clipping set and automatically clips to the mask. Now, if for some reason these layers accidentally get unclipped, which is easy to do when you're moving layers around, like this for example, then you can easily reclip those layers to the mask layer by selecting those layers. You're going to click on the first layer, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and then go to Layer, Create Clipping Mask. And so now you can see some of that nice texture of the underlying paper show through our image. I'm going to go ahead and turn this image off. And because this is a particularly old image, then obviously we have issues with the color. You may also want to select the photo layer and resize it by clicking on the bounding box. And this appears when you have the Move tool selected. In the top of your screen in Photoshop, it will say Show Transform Controls. You want to have that box checked. If you're working in Elements, you'll want to make sure you have the bounding box option checked. And then you're going to hover over the corner point until you get this diagonal double-ended arrow. You're going to click down and you're just going to drag those corners in so that you can resize the photo to fit your page. So I'd like to get just a little bit more of that background in, and then when you're happy with the transformation in the Photoshop, you're going to click on the check mark at the top of your screen. If you're working in Elements, the check mark is going to be located on that bounding box, and you can see that the color is completely off at this point. So there's a couple of ways to get around this. I like to go to Image Adjustments, Hue and Saturation in Photoshop. If you're working in Elements, that's Enhance, Adjust Color, Hue and Saturation. And then you can bring the saturation down, and this can often correct most of the issue. You can have it completely black and white if you want to, which I've done with a couple of my photographs, or you can leave some of that color in there. You can also play around with this master slider. So say for example we've got too much yellow in there, then you can adjust the hue so that it affects just the yellow tones in the photos, and you can see how that kind of brings in a bit more of these pink tones. So when you have it how you want it, you can go ahead and click OK. And then the other thing I like to do is go to Image Adjustment Levels. Again, in Photoshop Elements, that's Enhance, Adjust Lighting Levels. And you can play around with the midtones, the shadows, and then the highlights. And so for most of my photos, I've been bringing down these midtones to give it more of a muted look and feel. And then once you have finished editing the photo, then you can play around with this color overlay. So this originally is a fill layer that is a sort of a pink color here, and you can change the opacity of this layer as you prefer. You can change the blending mode of this layer to yield different effects. You can also go up to your image adjustments, hue and saturation, and you can change the hue as well. So notice how I'm able to bring in a lilac color, a blue color, more of a yellow color. So you can have a lot of fun here playing with the opacity, the blending mode, and then also the color to yield different results. I sort of like these very subtle overlays to kind of very much lighten and soften the texture of the paper that the photos were printed on, and also the poor quality of the photos. The other thing that I can do too, if I'm not happy with the quote, I can go ahead and turn that off, and you can go ahead and access any of the WordArt that you have available to you. So I'm going to head back to the ArtPlay Sashay collection and access some of the WordArt that's included in Spring WordArt Mix #1, and I'm going to select a variety of words that I can build my own title. So I'm going to have this happiness right here. I'm going to select blossom, and then I'm going to select this life word. And to do this, I'm holding down the control or the command key on my keyboard in order to select these individual word pieces, and then I'm going to drag them directly onto my canvas, and I'm going to click on the check mark to place each of those. And then you're going to want to reorganize some of these layers and then reposition them using the move tool. So notice how I'm selecting each one. In order to select them, I'm either clicking on the appropriate layer in the layers panel, or you can also click on the auto select option with the move tool selected. You can go ahead and move these into place. You can resize any of the elements as preferred, and then you can also add a drop shadow layer style by going to layer, layer style, and drop shadow. And I typically like to have a sort of a dark gray color at about 40% with a 120 angle, and then usually anywhere from 5 to 6 pixels in terms of distance and size, and then click OK. So we've very easily been able to change out that quote so that it's not so much mother themed. The other thing you can do too is you can go into your ArtPlay palette Sashay, into the elements, and you can perhaps access some of those elements and make use of them and embellish your pages. So I'm going to bring in this blossom, for example, drag it into my workspace and drag it directly onto my canvas. Go ahead and resize it, and then perhaps place it over the blossom in our design. And you could perhaps go back as well and then maybe bring in one of the buttons here. Let's go ahead and bring in this bright pink one, drag that into our workspace. Go ahead and apply a drop shadow layer style. So we'll go to layer, layer style, drop shadow, click OK, and then move that into position as well. And so you can see how you're able to customize those pages. Now I've added this pink. I might want to go back to my color overlay, go to image adjustment levels, and maybe make it a little darker. Maybe go ahead and apply a soft light blending mode, increase the opacity, and then go back up to our image adjustments, hue and saturation, and change the hue so we've got more of a pink hue coming into our design. And then once you have it how you want it, you can go ahead and save it. So let's go to File, Save As. You want to save it as the page 1. I'm just going to save it where our template is located. So I'm going to call it page 1. I'm going to click save, so that if I decide I want to go back and change any of these embellishments or word pieces, I can go ahead and do that. And then you're going to want to go to File, Save As, and then you want to save it as a JPEG as well. And this is the format that you will need in order to upload for print. I usually like to save at a quality of about 8 or 9, and then go ahead and click OK. And then you're going to repeat this process with all of the templates until you have a complete album. So I have populated all of the templates that are available. I've added photos so that I have 10 different double page spreads, and then I've also saved the first and last pages and the cover image. And I have a special link that allows you to get a 55% discount on printing this album. And that link is available to you below this video. And it's also included in the product description. But essentially, you're going to click on that link to access the Picaboo website, and then you're going to click on the shop now. From there, you're going to click on photo books, and you're going to want to log in as well. If you don't have an account with Picaboo, then you can make one, but you can see I'm logged in as Anna Aspnes here. And then you're going to navigate down to the premium mini books option. Click on that option, and you're going to click on the square option. And it's going to ask me what kind of a theme I want. I'm going to click on the blank or the no theme option. And then I'm going to click on Start Your Project. And I have to click on this small Adobe Flash Player icon in order to allow their software to run. And this is then going to open up and prompt me to be able to upload some photos. So first of all, I'm going to click on my computer. I'm going to find photos now, and then I'm going to navigate to the place where I have all of my JPEG layouts saved. Again, make sure that you have full resolution versions of the cover and of course the front and last pages. Select all of those pages by clicking on the first one, holding down the Shift button on your keyboard, and then click Open. This is going to bring the photos into the software, and you're going to upload them by clicking on this Add to Book button at the bottom of your screen. And at this point, it's going to prompt you to be able to give your book a name. So I'm going to add Mum, and I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that all of our layouts exist at the bottom of our screen, and we have a book template to work with. And it always starts off with the cover. So you want to use this blue slider down the bottom here to navigate to your book cover. And then you're going to click down, drag, and then release that cover into the template. And we want to apply it as a page background. So we're going to click on that option, and then this is going to place our cover into the background. You also have the option here to be able to add a title onto the spine. So I could put this down as I Love My Mum, for example. If I wanted that to be the name of my book, it could be anything that you want it to be. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to put there. So I'm going to move on to our front page. So this is the inside of the cover, which can't be edited. This is where the two first and last pages come in. So I'm going to select the first page, and I'm going to drop it into the right side. And we want to apply this as a page background. So I'm going to click that, and you can see that that nicely places on the first page. We're going to click on the arrow, and then this is going to offer us a place for our first double page spread, and then it's just a matter of going through and deciding which order you want to place your photos. So I think I'm going to try and do mine in order of appearance. So the earliest photos first, of when I was a teeny tiny baby to as I get older. So I'm going to drag that into my workspace. We're going to apply it as a 2-page background because we want it to cover both pages. And then we're going to keep clicking on the arrows and adding the photos. Now, if for some reason you end up and you change your mind, then you simply just click on a different photo, drag it into the space where you just applied your photo, click on the background again, and now you can see that that photo has become available again, and this one has been used. So it's really easy to switch out the layouts if you have a change of heart. So I'm just going to keep going in and adding in these pages until I have them how I want them. So let's go ahead and add this one in next. And then maybe add this one. If you click on them, you can see that they open up much larger, which is kind of fun. So add this one in next. Trying to kind of mix up the black and white and the color photos. So somehow I've managed to mix this one up, but essentially I just want to get these into place. I can play around with the placement at the end. I just really want to show you how you can get these pages into position and then get your book ordered. So we're just going through, we continue adding. Once you get to page 20, you'll see that the book ends, and you can add more pages by going to the Add More Pages button. And we want to add 2 more pages because I still have 1 more double page spread to include. So I'm going to add 2 pages, and I want to add them at the end of the book. So we'll insert a double page there, add our last layout, and then go through to the end where we will add our last page. And so there you have completed your book. You're then going to want to preview the book, and it's always a good idea to go in and do this. Not only does this allow you to check to make sure that you have none of your important details in the safety zone, but Picaboo actually requires it before you go ahead and order the book. Like for example, this, I may actually just bring this in a little bit more so that we have a bit more of my face in view. So that might be an edit that I make. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy. Don't worry about the blurriness. For some reason, this previewer is always blurry. It's no indication of how your book will print. It's because it's a small book too, so it's kind of magnified. But you go through and you take a look at the pages, and then when you're happy with it, then you can go ahead and add to cart. You also have this option to see it in high resolution, so that will allow you to see it as it will appear. And then go ahead, add to cart. It's going to warn you about previewing the project. We're going to go ahead and continue to the cart, and then going to access the book that you just created. So we want to add that to the cart. And then it's going to give you various options. You do not want to print a book that is larger than 5 by 5 inches. This is because you do not have the resolution to be able to do that. So you're going to click on the quantity amount, which is 1, and then you're going to press enter, and that will ensure that the system can recognize the quantity of the book that you want, and then you can go ahead and add to cart. And then at this point, you will need to add your code. So you're going to click on this click to enter code option, and then you're going to navigate back to that original link which has the code in the second line here. You can go ahead and you can copy that code, and then you can paste it into the box and then click apply, and this will allow you to add that 55% discount. So that will bring the total of your book down to $9.90. You can then click on the go to checkout option, and this will take you to your shipping information, your credit card information, in order for you to complete your transaction, and you should have your book within a week or so. So hopefully this answers your questions for using the 5x5 mother template album. Of course, you could use this for grandmothers, you could use it for friends, you can change up the quotes in order to make this little mini project work for anybody who enjoys photos. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope whoever you gift it to enjoys it. I know that my mum will love it, and I'm pretty excited about getting my own little mini book too. If you have any questions about this video, please do not hesitate to contact me. I can be reached at anna@AspnesDesigns.com, and I will be back in this space soon. I hope you have a very happy Easter.